Billionaire CEO falls for food truck owner without knowing that they already knew each other. Before we begin the story, you can help us a lot by subscribing to our channel and sharing this video. Sir, we need to get you to the office immediately. The board meeting. Cancel it, Marcus Wellington snapped, slamming his phone shut. The mahogany interior of his Bentley felt suffocating. His latest ex-girlfriend had just been caught selling Wellington Tech's trade secrets. 3 years wasted. Sir? James, his driver, glanced back. Perhaps some coffee might help. There's a food truck. I don't care if it serves liquid gold. Just get me something strong and black, like my soul. The Bentley stopped beside a colorful truck painted Sabores de Casa. Music and the smell of onions drifted through the air. Marcus scrolled through texts from his lawyer. 1 large coffee, black, James ordered. Coming right up. That'll be $3.50, came a warm, accented voice. Marcus looked up and froze. The woman inside was stunning, but ignored him completely. Sofia Rivera, 29, focused on preparing the cup with precision. Actually, Marcus stepped out, straightening his tie. Make that 2. I'll take mine with $3.50, Sofia repeated, sliding the cup toward James. Cash or card? Marcus blinked. Excuse me, but I was speaking. I'd like mine with cream and... I heard you, she said, finally meeting his gaze, annoyed, not impressed. Cream's on the counter. Help yourself. The customer service here is atrocious, Marcus muttered, pulling out his platinum card. Don't you know who I am? Sophia's eyes narrowed. Let me guess, another trust fund baby who thinks the world owes him because daddy bought him a car. James nearly choked. Marcus stared, stunned. I built my fortune through hard work and blah, blah, blah. She waved him off. I've served 100 guys like you. Same suits, same cars, same attitudes. You want to impress me? Be decent to service workers. My coffee's getting cold, and my next customer's waiting. Marcus turned. A construction worker grinned behind him. The usual, beautiful? Of course, Miguel. Sophia's smile lit up as she chatted in Spanish, treating him like royalty. Marcus fumed. He was Marcus Wellington, CEO worth billions, yet she dismissed him like nothing. $2, Miguel. Say hi to Rosa and the kids. Will do. And hey, don't let Prince Charming bother you. Rich boys are all the same. Sophia laughed, a sound that twisted Marcus's chest. Don't worry, Miguel. I've dealt with worse. As Miguel left, Marcus tried again. Look, miss, the name's Sophia, and you're still here why exactly? Because I wanted to apologize for apology accepted. Have a nice day. She turned her back, humming as she worked. Marcus stood frozen, oddly captivated. Sir, James whispered, the Yamamoto meeting. Yeah, Marcus murmured, eyes still on Sophia. Let's go. As the Bentley pulled away, he asked, what street was that? Brickell Avenue, sir. Marcus smiled. Good. Take this route tomorrow. Back at the truck, Sophia shook her head. Rich boys. Think the world revolves around them. She had no idea she'd just met her future husband. Sir, are you sure this is the most efficient route to the office? Marcus glanced up from his tablet, pretending to read reports while replaying yesterday's encounter with the sarcastic food truck owner. Just drive, James. For the 3rd time that week, the Bentley stopped beside Sabores de Casa. Marcus told himself it was about coffee, not a certain brunette with attitude. Good morning, he approached with a smile. Remember me? Sophia looked up, unimpressed. Oh, great. Prince Charming is back. Let me guess, you want to complain about the coffee temperature today. Actually, I wanted to apologize. I was having a terrible day and... Apology noted. What do you want to drink? I'm Mark Wellington. Marcus lied quickly. Congratulations. I'm Sophia. Coffee or no coffee, Mark Wellington? Coffee, definitely. And maybe we could start over? I'm a business consultant, and let me stop you right there, consultant. She made air quotes. You probably charge $500 an hour to say increase revenue and decrease costs, right? Well, business strategy is more complex than... I'm sure it is. She handed him a cup. $3.50, cash or card. You know, most owners would want free advice from someone with my experience. Free advice? From a guy in a $1,000 suit who probably pays someone to tie his shoes? Thanks, but I'll pass. I tie my own shoes. Want a medal? Marcus almost smiled. You're quite possibly the most difficult woman I've ever met. And you're quite possibly the most presumptuous man I've ever served. Perfect pair. Her eyes sparkled. Your coffee's getting cold, consultant. I sipped it. It's, adequate. Adequate? Sophia's voice rose. That's Colombian single-origin, ethically sourced, perfectly roasted coffee, and you call it adequate. Well, I'm used to more refined establishments. Of course you are. Probably spend $20 on foam art. She wiped the counter aggressively. Let me guess, your idea of food is a cherry tomato called deconstructed caprese. There's nothing wrong with fine dining. There's everything wrong with paying $50 for what I make for $5. She pointed to her menu. Real food, real prices, real flavor. You seem to have strong opinions about everything. It's called having a personality. You should try it sometime. A construction worker appeared, greeting Sophia like family. Marcus watched, fascinated by how warm she became for everyone else. Same time tomorrow? Marcus asked, stepping back. Sophia looked up, surprised. Why would you come back if the coffee is just adequate? Maybe I like a challenge. Maybe you're a glutton for punishment. Maybe I am. As he walked away, Sophia called, Hey, Mark, the consultant. He turned. Next time, bring better material. The pretentious act is getting old. Marcus laughed, despite himself. Game on, Sophia Rivera. Game on. Let me get this straight. Sophia wiped her hands on her apron, staring at Marcus through the service window. This is the 7th day in a row you've shown up here. Either you're stalking me, or you have the worst memory in Miami when it comes to coffee shops. Marcus adjusted his tie, a nervous habit he'd developed around her. Maybe I just appreciate consistency in my morning routine. Consistency? Sophia laughed. Yesterday you complained the coffee was too hot. Tuesday you said it was too cold. Monday you asked if we had oat milk, then didn't order anything with milk. You're about as consistent as Miami weather. I'm exploring my options. Uh-huh. Sophia turned to start his usual order without asking. After a week of this dance, she knew he wanted medium coffee, black, with exactly 1 sugar packet that he'd debate using for 30 seconds before stirring it in. You know, Marcus leaned against the truck, watching her work. Most business owners would be curious why a potential investor keeps visiting their establishment. Sophia nearly dropped the coffee pot. Investor? Oh, that's rich. Let me guess. You want to buy my little food truck and turn it into another soulless franchise? I never say... Save it, Mark. I've heard this speech before. Sophia handed him his coffee with more force than necessary. $3.50, Mark. Same as always. As Marcus handed over his money, their fingers brushed. The contact lasted maybe 2 seconds, but both felt it. A spark neither wanted to acknowledge. You know what's funny? Sophia said, her voice slightly breathless. You keep coming back here, day after day, pretending to hate everything about this place. But you keep coming back. Marcus met her eyes. Maybe I don't hate everything about this place. The tension between them crackled like electricity. Sophia felt her cheeks warm under his intense gaze. Excuse me, a voice interrupted. Are you serving or flirting? Both Marcus and Sophia jumped apart, remembering where they were. A line of customers had formed behind Marcus, all looking amused by the obvious chemistry. Sorry, Sophia called out, her professional mask sliding back into place. What can I get you? Marcus stepped aside, but didn't leave. He stood by his car, sipping his coffee and watching Sophia work. She moved with practiced efficiency, chatting warmly with regulars, somehow making each person feel like her favorite customer. When the lunch rush died down, Marcus approached again. "Still here?" Sophia asked, not looking up from cleaning her grill. "I was thinking, maybe you could tell me more about those family recipes." "Why?" Sophia finally looked at him, suspicion clear in her eyes. "Because you light up when you talk about your grandmother, and I'd like to see that again." The honesty in his voice caught Sophia off guard. She studied his face, searching for the angle, the manipulation she'd learned to expect from men in expensive suits. All she found was genuine interest. "Tomorrow, same time. And Mark." "Yeah? Bring better questions than yesterday." Marcus smiled, a real smile that transformed his entire face. "Deal." "Mr. Wellington, your 2 p.m. meeting with the Japanese investors is in conference room A and—" "Cancel it." Marcus didn't look up from his laptop. "Actually, reschedule it for Thursday." Margaret blinked. Marcus Wellington never postponed meetings. "Sir, are you feeling all right?" "I'm fine, just busy with a new project." What he didn't say, that project was arranging catering contracts for a certain food truck owner. Through shell companies, he'd booked Sophia for 3 big events that week. "Sir," James appeared. "The usual route today?" Marcus nodded. Soon he was standing at Sophia's truck. "Wow, busy day," he said casually. 3 catering jobs this week. It's like winning the lottery." She eyed him. "You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you, consultant?" "Why would I know about your bookings?" "Because weird things happen when you're around, Mark Wellington." He hesitated. Then, "Actually, maybe I do know something. Would you like me to show you how I helped arrange them?" Sophia frowned. "What do you mean?" "Come with me, to my office. Full transparency, no more secrets." She glanced at the Bentley, then back at him. Something in his voice softened her. "Fine, but this better not be some scheme to impress me with your fancy office." "It's not," Marcus promised. "It's me trying to be honest for once." 20 minutes later, they were in the elevator at Wellington Tech. Sophia looked around, curious but tense. "So, this is where the mysterious consultant works," she teased. "Something like that," Marcus said, heart pounding. He was ready to confess everything, when the fire alarm blared. The elevator jolted to a stop. "Great," Sophia muttered, pressing buttons. "Hey, it's okay. Maintenance will fix it." She turned, eyes wide. "I hate small spaces." Without thinking, he stepped closer. "Tell me about your grandmother's recipes, the ones you mentioned." "What?" "Just distract yourself. Tell me about Colombia." Her breathing steadied. She had this tiny kitchen in Bogota, barely big enough for 2 people, but she made magic there. "I was 8 when I moved in with her. My parents had died in a car accident." Marcus's chest tightened. "I'm sorry." "She saved me," Sophia whispered. "Every morning she'd make fresh arepas. Said food made with love could heal any heartbreak." "Is that why you started the truck?" She always dreamed of sharing her recipes. This truck, it's her dream, just delayed a generation. Marcus looked at her with awe. "You're incredible." Sophia met his eyes. "You're not what I expected either." The space vanished. Their lips met, not desperate, but inevitable. The elevator lurched back to life, but they stayed close. "That was—" she breathed. "Yeah." When the doors opened, she turned. "Mark." "Yeah?" "Whatever you're really doing here, I need you to know that was real for me." Marcus watched her walk away, heart racing. It was real for him too. Maybe too real.
And soon, she'd discover who Mark Wellington really was.
You know what I don't understand? Sophia handed Marcus his coffee, their fingers brushing deliberately this time. What's that? Marcus had abandoned all pretense of reading emails on his phone. These morning conversations had become the highlight of his day. You keep coming back here, but you never actually eat anything. Are you secretly a vampire who survives on Colombian coffee? Marcus laughed, a genuine sound that surprised them both. Maybe I'm just here for the company. The company? Sophia raised an eyebrow. You mean my sparkling personality and warm customer service? Something like that. The flirtation had become easier over the past week. Ever since the elevator incident, the sharp edges of their banter had softened into something warmer, more intimate. Tell me something. Sophia leaned against the window counter. What do you actually do as a consultant? And don't say business stuff. I want details. Marcus hesitated. The lies were getting harder to maintain. I help companies optimize their operations, make them more efficient. That sounds incredibly boring. It pays the bills. Is that why you do it? For money? The question hit deeper than intended. Marcus studied her face, the genuine curiosity, the lack of judgment. When was the last time someone had asked him about purpose rather than profit? No, he said quietly. I do it because I'm good at fixing things. Problems, inefficiencies, broken systems. I see solutions where others see obstacles. But do you love it? Marcus blinked. Love? He'd never considered work in terms of love. Do you love this? He gestured to the food truck. Sophia's face lit up. Every exhausting, frustrating, wonderful minute of it. Even when the generator breaks down or when entitled customers, she shot him a playful look, complain about perfectly good coffee. I deserve that. You did. Their eyes met and held. The busy street around them seemed to fade away. Sophia, Marcus said softly, would you maybe want to... Next, called the voice behind him. The spell broke. Marcus stepped aside for the next customer, but lingered nearby. When the lunch rush ended, Sophia walked over to where he stood by his car. What were you going to ask? Marcus's carefully rehearsed words vanished. Have dinner with me, tonight, somewhere that isn't this truck. Sophia smiled, the first truly unguarded smile she had given him. Okay, Mark Wellington, but I'm picking the place. And fair warning, I don't do fancy. I wouldn't expect anything else.
This is where you wanted to eat? Marcus looked around the tiny Cuban restaurant, its walls covered in family photos and vintage Havana posters. What's wrong? Not fancy enough for your refined palate? Sophia slid into the worn vinyl booth across from him. It's perfect. And he meant it. The warmth, the laughter from the kitchen, the way Sophia's eyes lit up as she greeted the elderly owner in rapid Spanish. It was more genuine than any five-star restaurant he'd ever been to. My mother used to work for a family near here, Sophia said suddenly, tracing the rim of her water glass. The Wellingtons. They had this massive mansion in Coral Gables. Marcus nearly choked on his mojito. The Wellingtons? Yeah. Rich family, tech money. Mom was their housekeeper for about 5 years when I was a kid. Sophia's expression grew distant. I used to visit her at work sometimes during summer break. There was this teenage boy who lived there, probably 16 or 17, always seemed so lonely, you know? Marcus's heart hammered against his ribs. Lonely? The parents traveled constantly, left him alone in that big house with just the staff for company. Sophia smiled softly. He was actually really sweet. Defended me once when some neighborhood kids were making fun of my accent. What happened to him? No idea. Mom quit when the family moved to Europe for a few years. I always wondered. Sophia pulled something from her purse, a delicate silver bracelet with a small Colombian emerald. He gave me this before we left. Said it was to remember that I belonged somewhere beautiful. Marcus stared at the bracelet, memories flooding back. A scared little girl with tears in her eyes, bullies calling her names. his teenage self all awkward fury stepping between them, finding his mother's bracelet in a jewelry box and impulsively giving it away. "Sophia," he whispered. "What? Your mother, Maria Rivera?" Sophia's eyes widened. "How did you—" "The boy in the mansion, the one who gave you that bracelet." He reached across the table, his hands shaking. "That was me." The restaurant noise faded to nothing. Sophia stared at him, her face cycling through confusion, recognition, and something deeper. "Marcus," she breathed. "Not Mark, Marcus Wellington." "I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I didn't remember sooner. Sophia stood abruptly and walked out into the Miami evening. Marcus threw money on the table and followed her into the humid Miami evening. He found her sitting on a bench outside, clutching the bracelet. "You're him," she said without looking up. "The lonely boy who saved me. And you are the little girl who made me believe in kindness again." They sat in silence, 20 years of separation dissolving between them. Finally, Sophia looked at him. "So what now, Marcus Wellington?" "Now," he said softly, "I stop lying to the woman I love."
Breaking news tonight, Wellington Tech CEO Marcus Wellington's unusual lunch habits. Sophia looked up from her grill, confused by the commotion outside her truck. A news van had pulled up, and a reporter was adjusting her microphone while a cameraman set up equipment. "We're here at the famous food truck that Miami's most eligible bachelor visits daily," the reporter announced. "Sources say Marcus Wellington, worth over $2 billion, has been spotted here every morning for weeks." Sophia's blood turned to ice. The spatula clattered to the floor. "Mr. Wellington!" The reporter rushed toward Marcus as he approached the truck, completely unaware of what was happening. "We heard you've been visiting Sabores de Casa daily under the name Mark Wellington. Care to explain why a billionaire CEO would hide his identity from a small business owner?" The small crowd of regular customers began to murmur. Miguel, the construction worker, shook his head in disgust. "Man, that's messed up. Playing games with Sophia like that?" Through the window, Marcus met Sophia's eyes. The hurt and betrayal he saw there physically pained him. "Turn off the cameras," he said firmly to the news crew. "This is private." But Sophia was already untying her apron. She stepped out of the truck, her hands shaking with rage. "Private?" Her voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. "Was it private when you lied to me for weeks? Was it private when you pretended to be someone else? When you made me feel like a fool?" "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" Tears were streaming down her face now. "Were you bored? Did your rich friends dare you to see how long you could fool the stupid girl?" Marcus stepped closer, desperate. "Sophia, you have to know that's not— Don't!" She held up her hand. "Don't you dare come any closer, and don't ever come back here." She climbed back into her truck and slammed the service window shut. Through the glass, Marcus could see her shoulders shaking as she cried. The news van was still rolling. "Well, there you have it, Miami. Even billionaires get their hearts broken." Marcus turned to face the camera, his composure finally breaking. "If you air this, I'll destroy your network." But the damage was already done. By evening, the story would be everywhere. Billionaire CEO catfished local food truck owner. As the news van drove away and the crowd dispersed, Marcus stood alone beside the colorful truck where he'd fallen in love. Behind those closed windows, Sophia Rivera was learning that fairy tales don't exist for girls like her.
3 weeks. 3 weeks since Sophia had closed her food truck and disappeared from Marcus's life completely. "Sir, you have the Morrison contract to review," Margaret said softly, placing another stack of documents on Marcus's desk. She'd learned to speak quietly around him lately. His temper had become unpredictable. "Cancel it." "Sir, it's a $50 million deal." "I said cancel it." Marcus snapped, then immediately softened. "I'm sorry, Margaret. Cancel everything today." Margaret had worked for Marcus for 8 years. She'd never seen him like this. Unshaven, hollow-eyed, wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row. The meticulous CEO who once organized his sock drawer by color now couldn't be bothered to return phone calls. Meanwhile, across town, Rosa found Sophia crying over a stack of bills in their tiny apartment kitchen. "Mija, you can't keep doing this," Rosa said gently. "You haven't left this apartment in days." "I can't face anyone," Sophia whispered. "The whole city saw me making a fool of myself on TV. Local girl falls for billionaire's prank. That's what they're calling it." It wasn't a prank. That man looked like his heart was breaking. "Don't," Sophia's voice turned sharp, "don't defend him. He lied about everything, Rosa. His name, his job, probably even his feelings." But even as she said it, Sophia's fingers unconsciously touched the Colombian bracelet on her wrist. The memory of 16-year-old Marcus defending her, of the genuine connection she'd felt with him, warred with the betrayal she'd experienced. "What are you going to do about the truck?" Rosa asked carefully. Sophia's face crumpled. Without the anonymous catering contracts Marcus had arranged, she couldn't afford the permits and loans. "I have to sell it. There's a buyer interested. Some corporation wants to turn it into a generic sandwich cart." The thought of her grandmother's recipes disappearing into corporate mediocrity felt like losing her family all over again. Across town, Marcus sat in his penthouse, staring at security footage from the street cameras near where Sophia's truck used to park. James had tried to find her new location, but she had vanished completely from the food service circuit. His phone buzzed with another text from his mother. "Darling, when are you bringing home that lovely girl from the news? She seemed perfect for you." Marcus almost laughed. Perfect for him. He destroyed the only perfect thing in his life through his own cowardice and lies. On impulse, he grabbed his keys and drove to their old spot. The empty space where Sophia's colorful truck used to brighten the street corner looked like a missing tooth and a smile. An old man sitting on a nearby bench recognized him. "You're that rich boy from TV, the one who broke Sophia's heart," the man said. Marcus winced. "Yes, sir." "She was good to this neighborhood, always gave free food to the homeless, helped people when they couldn't pay." The man shook his head. "Shame what you did to her." "I loved her," Marcus said quietly. "Love," the old man laughed bitterly. "Boy, love don't lie. Love don't pretend to be something it ain't. You were playing games while Sophia was falling for real." As Marcus drove home, those words echoed in his head. The old man was right. He'd been playing games while Sophia had been genuine from day one. That night, both Marcus and Sophia lay awake in their respective beds, staring at the ceiling, each convinced they'd lost something irreplaceable. Neither knew that tomorrow would bring an unexpected chance at redemption.
"Margaret, what the hell is this?" Marcus stared at the invitation. Small Business Foundation Charity Gala, honoring Miami's entrepreneurial spirit. "It's the annual charity event, sir. You're the keynote speaker. Remember? You committed to it 6 months ago." "Cancel it." "Sir, you can't. They've already printed programs with your name." Across town, Rosa yanked Sophia out of bed. "Get dressed. We're going out." "Rosa, I told you. Mija, you've been in pajamas for 3 weeks. Tonight, we're going to that charity thing." Sophia blinked at the invitation. I can't afford. My cousin Carlos works catering. He got us tickets. You need to get out. Show this city Sofia Rivera isn't hiding." An hour later, Marcus stood at the podium in the Grand Bayfront Hotel ballroom, heart heavy. "Local entrepreneurs are the backbone of our community. They bring authenticity and passion that corporate entities often lack." In the back, Sophia froze. She'd tried to leave when she saw him, but Rosa pinned her in place. "These small business owners pour their hearts into their work.
They create connections with customers that go beyond transactions. Now he was speaking only to her. I recently met someone who embodied everything I just described. She took her grandmother's recipes and turned them into something magical. She treated every customer like family. She worked 18-hour days, not for profit, but because she believed food could heal hearts. The audience leaned in. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. And I destroyed it. I destroyed it because I was a coward who couldn't tell the truth about who I was. I let her believe I was someone else because I was terrified that if she knew the real me, the broken, lonely billionaire betrayed by every woman he'd ever trusted, she'd run away. Murmurs spread through the crowd. This wasn't the planned speech. But she didn't care about money. She never asked what I did for a living or how much I made. She cared about whether I treated people with kindness, whether I had substance beneath the surface. And I failed her test spectacularly. Sophia was crying openly now. So, if you're out there, Sofia Rivera, I want you to know that every word I ever said about loving you was true. Every moment we shared was real. I lied about my name and my job, but I never lied about my feelings. The ballroom was silent. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but loving you was the most honest thing I've ever done. He stepped down, walking through the stunned crowd. As he passed Sophia's table, their eyes met. One brief electric moment. Then he was gone. Sophia sat trembling, tears streaming, as the audience slowly began to applaud, not for the polished speech they'd expected, but for the raw courage they'd just witnessed.
The next morning, Sophia stood outside the Wellington Tech building, her heart hammering against her ribs. After last night's speech, she'd spent hours thinking about everything, the lies, the truth, and the raw emotion in Marcus's voice. "I'm here to see Marcus Wellington," she told the security guard. "Miss Rivera?" Marcus appeared in the lobby within minutes, looking like he hadn't slept. "You came. We need to talk." They rode the elevator to his office in tense silence. The space was immaculate, except for one corner where a small music box sat on his desk, the same style as the bracelet he'd given her years ago. "I've been thinking about what you said, about being broken and lonely, about being betrayed." Marcus nodded, not trusting himself to speak. "But here's the thing, Marcus. I was never interested in Mark, the businessman consultant. I fell for the man who asked about my grandmother's recipes, who listened to my dreams, who made me laugh even when I was trying to stay mad at him." "Sophia, let me finish." She moved closer. "You think you lied about everything, but you didn't. Your kindness was real. Your curiosity about my life was real. The way you held me in that elevator was real." She pulled out the bracelet, letting it catch the morning light. 16-year-old Marcus gave this to me because he saw something worth protecting. 34-year-old Marcus did the same thing when he arranged those catering jobs. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. I wanted to tell you the truth so many times. I know, and I understand why you didn't. But no more lies between us. Promise me." "I promise," he whispered. "Sophia, I love you. Not your truck, not your story, not the idea of you. Just you. I love you too, you impossible, complicated billionaire." When he kissed her, it felt like coming home. 6 months after their reconciliation, Marcus stood outside Sabores de Casa with a folder of legal documents and his heart in his throat. "Sophia," he called to the service window, "I need to ask you something important." Sophia looked up from prepping vegetables, noting the unusual formality in his voice. "What's wrong? You look terrified." "I have a proposal, a business proposal." Marcus slid the documents across the counter. I want to turn Sabores de Casa into a restaurant chain. 5 locations to start, expanding across Florida. Sophia's face went pale. Marcus, we talked about this. I don't want your charity. It's not charity. You'd own 51%. I'd be the minority partner. Marcus's words tumbled out rapidly. Your recipes, your vision, your control. I just provide the capital and business infrastructure. Sophia stared at the contracts, overwhelmed. Why would you give me majority ownership of your own investment? Because, Marcus took a deep breath, I love you more than I love control, more than I love money, more than I've ever loved anything in my life. The lunch crowd had gathered, sensing something important happening. Miguel whistled appreciatively. Damn, that's romantic. Sofia Rivera, Marcus continued, his voice stronger now. Will you be my business partner? Will you let me help you share your grandmother's love with the world? Tears streamed down Sophia's face as she looked at the man who'd learned to put her dreams before his own ego. Yes, she whispered. Yes, Marcus Wellington. Let's build something beautiful together. The crowd erupted in cheers as Marcus leaned through the window to kiss his future business partner and wife. 2 years later, Marcus stood nervously at the altar of the small chapel overlooking Biscayne Bay, adjusting his tie for the 100th time. Relax, man, whispered James, his former driver who'd become his best man. She's not running away this time. The doors opened, and Sophia appeared in a simple ivory dress that took Marcus's breath away. She walked down the aisle alone, proud, independent, exactly as she'd always been, carrying a bouquet of Colombian coffee flowers. You look perfect, Marcus whispered as she reached him. You clean up pretty well yourself, billionaire boy, Sophia grinned. The ceremony was intimate. Just 50 guests, including Maria Rivera, who wept with joy seeing her daughter marry the kind boy she'd remembered from all those years ago. Do you, Marcus, take Sophia to be your wife, your equal partner, your best friend? I do, forever and always. Do you, Sophia, take Marcus to be your husband, your business partner, your favorite customer? Sophia laughed through tears. I do, even if he still complains about the coffee sometimes. When they kissed, the crowd erupted in cheers. Miguel whistled loudly from the back row. At the reception, held at the flagship Sabores de Casa restaurant, Marcus gave his speech. They say you can't buy love, but you can buy really good Colombian coffee every morning from the woman you're already falling for. Sometimes the best investments aren't in stocks or bonds. They're in the person who makes you want to be better than you ever thought possible. Sophia wiped her eyes, then grabbed the microphone. 2 years ago, I thought this arrogant man in an expensive suit was my worst nightmare. Turns out, he was my dream come true. He just needed better coffee and a personality adjustment. As they danced to their first song, surrounded by friends and the aroma of Sophia's grandmother's recipes, Marcus whispered in her ear, "No more lies between us, ever. Promise? I promise, Mrs. Wellington." And in that moment, with the Miami sunset painting the sky gold and the sound of laughter filling the air, 2 hearts that had found their way back to each other finally wrote their happy ending.
I hope you enjoyed this story. Please tell us how you rate it from 0 to 10. Hey, subscribe to be notified when we release new stories. Click the like button and share with anyone you think might also like it. See you next time.